Gas stations, a pit stop on the road of life, a place where time stands still and the ordinary hides in plain sight. For Sarah Hartley, a 26-year-old medical student, this particular stop would be anything but ordinary. It would be the beginning of a nightmare beyond her comprehension. Sarah, after a long day of class, decides to stop at her local gas station. Sarah casually browses inside the gas station and she grabs a prepackaged sandwich and a bottle of water. The camera lingers on the sandwich as she hears the sound of a static grow. However, she dismissed it. Sarah had no reason to suspect anything was wrong. The sandwich looked fine, sealed, fresh, and utterly harmless. But sometimes it's the things that we don't see that pose the greatest danger. Sarah, on her way home, eats the sandwich while listening to a podcast. She then, when she arrives, says hello to her mother and goes to sleep. Within hours, she awakens. The first signs have appeared: a headache, fatigue, and a low-grade fever. It felt like the common flu, nothing unusual to her, but deep inside of her body, an invisible war was beginning. By the next day, Sarah's symptoms escalated. The fever climbed even higher. Her muscles ached as though they were tearing themselves apart, and a sinister rash began to creep along her skin. She dismissed it at first, blaming stress and exhaustion from school, but this was no ordinary illness. Sarah then runs to the bathroom. She's curled up on the floor, shaking. What Sarah didn't know was that she had ingested something deadly. Inside of that seemingly harmless sandwich lurked Clostridium obscurus, a bacterium so rare that only a handful of cases had ever been documented, and none ended well. Clostridium obscurus is not your typical pathogen. It's an anaerobic, spore-forming bacterium. But what does that mean? Let's break it down. Anaerobic bacteria thrive in environments without oxygen. Unlike most organisms, which need oxygen to survive, these bacteria find it toxic. They prefer environments like the human gut or poorly refrigerated food where oxygen is scarce. Spore-forming bacteria like Clostridium obscurus has a unique survival mechanism. It can create a tough, protective shell called a spore to withstand harsh conditions like heat, cold, and lack of nutrients. These spores can lie dormant for years, waiting for the perfect environment to spring back to life. The infection spreads in Sarah like a wildfire. The bacteria's spores, once dormant, had found the perfect environment to thrive in Sarah's gut. From there, they unleash a torrent of toxins that ravaged her body. Her immune system fought strongly, but it was like trying to hold back a flood with a paper dam. Sarah's mom sees her in pain, aching, and sweating. She decides to call 911. When Sarah has finally arrived in the hospital, she was barely conscious. Her fever had soared to 104 degrees, and her blood pressure was plummeting. These symptoms, combined with the spreading rash and necrotic tissue, left the doctors baffled. Tests ruled out common infections, and antibiotics seemed to have no effect. Then, a blood culture revealed the horrifying truth. Clostridium obscurus, a ghost in the medical world. Its rarity making it all the more dangerous. It had likely come from the sandwich Sarah ate at the gas station, where improper refrigeration allowed the bacteria's spores to flourish. But knowing the cause was only the first step. Stopping it would be another battle entirely. Once inside the body, Clostridium obscurus releases a cocktail of toxins that disrupt cellular function. The term necrotizing comes from the Greek word necrosis, meaning death. These toxins essentially cause the death of tissue, breaking it down into nutrients that the bacteria can consume. But what made Sarah's case so unique was the way the bacteria targeted her nervous system, triggering hallucinations and psychosis. It was as though the infection was rewriting her own reality. Sarah's mind became a battlefield. She thought she saw things that weren't there, heard whispering voices, secrets in the dark. The bacteria's toxins weren't just destroying her body, they were unraveling her very sense of self. Doctors had no choice but to remove the infected tissue. Every second counted. The necrotizing infection was spreading faster than they could keep up, and without drastic measures, Sarah wouldn't survive the night. High doses of antibiotics and experimental treatments were administered, targeting the bacteria with everything modern medicine could offer. But even with the most advanced care, survival was not guaranteed. Sarah's recovery was nothing short of miraculous. She became one of the few survivors of Clostridium obscurus. Her case provides invaluable data for researchers, but the scars, both physical and psychological, would remain. The gas station at night, the same neon flickering. The camera zooms in on the fridge where Sarah had grabbed the sandwich in her dream. Clostridium obscurus remains a rare and enigmatic threat, but its story is a chilling reminder of the unseen dangers lurking in the world. The next time you reach for a quick snack, remember Sarah Hartley's story and ask yourself, how much do you really know about what you're eating? If you enjoyed the story, be sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Again, I am not a doctor. Do not perform anything that was portrayed in this story. Everything here is fictional, but based on true events.